Well, it came today, and I don't really know what's going to happen. I'm afraid to open it and read it with my own eyes. Until I do, perhaps I'm both alive and dead, like Schrodinger's cat. But you have no idea what I'm talking about. This envelope contains the forms that change the beneficiaries on my life insurance policy. All I have to do is sign it and mail it back. The changes are then in effect. Understand, this policy covers all forms of death. It's been a long and torturous road to get here. You have no idea how hard it is to deal with insurance companies. But what am I saying? Everyone knows how hard it is. So now I have to decide whether or not to open it. It was 6 years, 6 months, 8 months, I don't know, 17 and a half months ago. I'm absolutely horrible with time, and I was printing out the forms, and I think you're going to need a little background to appreciate this story. Hello, my name is Ken, and I am depressed. Well, except I'm not depressed all the time, and I like to think that my depression doesn't define me. My name is Ken, and I have depression. Well, except I also have a dog and a nipple ring and a slight crush on Uma Thurman. But who doesn't have a crush on Uma Thurman? I don't know if you have a nipple ring. My name is Ken, and I suffer from depression. Or would it be suffer with depression? Regardless, it's not a bad way of saying it. And after all, I also have allergies, and I think allergies and depression have a lot in common. Well, you know, except for the whole dying part. Allergies and depression, how are they the same? Well, for one, I've suffered with allergies ever since I was a child and everywhere I've ever lived. For another, unless you too have allergies, it's very difficult to empathize when my allergies are hitting me like a ton of lead bricks. And I've never found an allergy medication that takes away my symptoms and lets me function normally. So, allergies and depression are kind of the same. You know, except that allergies have a fairly well understood cause. Depression doesn't. I mean, there's no invading particle to which my body is overreacting. Depression is nebulous. It's talked about in terms of symptoms. There's not a physical something that can be identified on an X-ray or a CAT scan or a PET scan or an MRI scan or a blood test or even a piss test. And I should know, I've had them all. So, the question is, from what am I suffering? Some would say that my symptoms suggest that I suffer from an intermittent imbalance of certain neurotransmitters in the brain due to an unknown cause. Well, that's what I think of that. Let's just put it this way. My name is Ken, and depression and I are on a first-name basis. I hope that little bit of backstory puts my predicament in perspective. Hopefully you can understand why death was on my mind and still is. Why a self-respecting, upstanding, depressed person could not continue ruminating on death without taking certain precautions. I mean, I have responsibilities, a wife and a daughter, and they still get the lion's share. But I'm also leaving something behind for a few local groups that are important to me. Here, and yeah, okay. That's not quite the whole story. Back when I was filling out the forms, I was going long on posthumous exoneration. I felt that if I left a mark on the community, gee, okay, all right, that's still not quite the whole story. The real deal is, I thought that if my name were prominently displayed as a most generous benefactor, that a more favorable light might shine on anything, you know, untoward that might happen. So I printed out the form and put it on my desk, and it promptly got lost in the piles and mounds of papers and books and crap that continually invades my office. So I printed it out again and filled it out and got lost again and then again and then again. Finally, I managed to get it filled out and sent back. And they said yes, all I have to do is sign. But I can't help but wonder, is signing this and sending it back, is it giving myself permission? Is it adding 5 more bullets to the gun? I have a gun. So, what happens if I open this envelope? I'm just plain exhausted now. I don't know about you. You know, there really is nothing quite like sleeping till noon or 2 or 3 in the afternoon. It's heaven. Well, once I get past the guilt and the name-calling and the self-loathing, and once I can stop yelling at myself, "Get your fucking ass out of bed, you lazy sack of shit!" And as long as I can ignore those feelings of dread as deadlines loom all gloomy like, I can, fend off the pressures that rush in and remind me of this and that and what's coming up and what's overdue. After a little bit, they lose their individuality. It's no longer distinct tasks, but just the overwhelming anxiety and the utter exhaustion that constantly reminds me that I just can't do it. You see, I'm running on empty, and there's no hope. There's no tomorrow when I'm going to feel better. There's no fresh energy for tackling these chores. I just want out. To sleep, perchance to dream. I wrote a poem about that. Clenched eyelids fail to repulse the assault disturbing the dream. Not a particularly good dream, but a dream nonetheless, and dreaming, especially a bad one, is easy. Black shrinks in futile retreat under the barrage of photons that pierce the belly and gut the soul, spilling vital organs and exposing other, even more private parts. I long to be unconscious, to avoid the work that light brings. Work. I can't stomach the work anymore. Every little thing is just so fucking difficult. Just want to dream. It is so damn easy to dream. Nothing but long hours of sound sleep, interrupted, but no, not interrupted. More like scene changes. One dream ends, another begins, and they're endless. I rarely remember much, but that's not the point. The point is to dream, because when I dream, I am not depressed. I wonder if you dream when you're dead. If you do, being dead could be pretty damn nice. My first experience with death was my pet turtle. Or maybe it was my grandfather, I can't remember. Anyway, one morning, my pet turtle was laying in its plastic day spa with its head hanging out farther than seemed physically possible. It was very obvious what was going on there. At my grandfather's funeral, I remember thinking, there's no way he's all in there. The casket is obviously too short. I mean, even a 5-year-old could tell that. Or was I 7 or 10? I don't know. Anyway, I thought they had, chopped off his legs or bent them backwards or something. I mean, his top half looked just fine. And there was a blanket covering his legs and feet, well, where his feet should have been. And I was so curious that I had to find out. I started to lift the blanket just a little, just to take a peek. But my mom pulled me back. She didn't want me to get so close. Death. The Americans have a strange relationship with death. I have a very strange relationship with death. I mean, death is all around us. Flies on the windowsill, baby birds falling out of trees, the flowers that say, "I love you," and then are thrown in the trash a week later. We use a lot of things for a short period of time and then just throw them away. Like batteries, plastic bags, paper bags, cameras, tampons, condoms, people. Our grandparents die, or the family pet, and we don't deal with it, with death. We just flush them down the toilet or send them off to that farm where they can run free. The pets, hopefully not the grandparents. We avoid and deny and rage against the dying of the light. We get plastic surgery so we don't look like we're nearing death. We take Viagra so we don't fuck like we're nearing death. At funerals, we laugh and joke so we don't even feel like we're near death. We tell our sons, don't cry when their mothers die, and then put a time limit on how long we're allowed to grieve. My daughter has a book called Everyone Poops. I think there should be a book mandatory for everyone over 35. Everyone dies. So, why not me? Why not now? Death has got to be important if we expend so much time, energy, and money trying to make it go away. We even use analytic language to hide from death when that's exactly what we're talking about. Why are thoughts of suicide common expressions of depression? When I can't even think about life, it's death that holds my attention, as if there's meaning in death as well as in life. Meaning. We crave meaning. It's part of being human. I mean, think about the people. Want some? They're good. They're Paleolithic. Let's pass them around, okay? Thanks. Just think about those people. Open up. Making those cave paintings or building Stonehenge. I mean, who does that just for the hell of it, you know? If we can't find meaning in our lives, depression is often right around the corner, but it's a chicken and egg thing. But anyway, there's a void in our lives, an empty space that we try and fill up with, serving others, careers, things like alcohol, cars, shoes, chocolate, drugs, sex, casual sex, mediocre sex, earth-shaking sex. Oh, I'm depressed. I'm not dead yet. So if I can't find meaning in my life, does that mean it's okay to blow my head off? And how do I even answer that question? But, tick-tock, 10 business days. That's like 2 weeks, right? Well, unless this is a Monday. God, is this a Monday? I hope it's not a Monday. It's not, thank God. Suicide, no longer a thought. In the old days, our bodies belonged to the church, and so suicide was a big no-no because, well, the church wanted money, and the dead are notorious for not tithing. But I think the official position would have been that only God can make the really important, life and death decisions. David Hume was scared to publish his essays on suicide. It was the 18th century, and there was a lot of religious pressures. He could have been, excommunicated or sued or something. His essays were a wee bit controversial because he took a wee bit of control away from God. But is God still in control if no one believes? Like that tree that falls in the forest? But there's still people that do believe. All you have to do is read the paper or watch the news. There's still the people that are sticking to the old ways of letting God decide who lives and who they should kill, who should get married, and who gets elected. But I digress. Although I think these digressions help keep me alive because they keep me from getting to the point. And the point is that, where was I? Oh, Hume. Hume said, as long as we are socially beneficial, we should not commit suicide. Socially beneficial. You see that gives me an out, right? It's a simple question of when am I more beneficial dead than alive? At what point can I do more for my family and others with a chunk of money than with my own efforts? Do you see this? Are you understanding what I'm saying? If I can't work to bring home the bacon and can't even get my ass off the couch to throw in a load of laundry every once in a while, then maybe my life insurance has more benefit than I do. If I can't make love to my wife when she wants me and I want her, and I can't make my daughter laugh so hard that she gets the hiccups, maybe I should just step aside and let them move on. But how do I know when to do that? How productive do I have to be? Do I swallow the cyanide the moment I'm unproductive? Or do I let 1 month of unproductivity go by before I load the revolver? It's got to be an average over my lifetime, right? So, say 5 years of unproductivity at 50 is okay, but after 5 years at 30, it's, time to buy garden hose and clean out the garage. And, God, how do I put a value on being a father? Where is the break-even point between a depressed, unenergetic, basically shitty father and no father? Can I even put a number on this? If I can't quantify the value of being a father, then I'm just fucked. I mean, this whole analysis is just fucking bullshit. Okay, let's assume that I can put a value on being a father and a husband and everything else involved with defining my productivity. I know. Just hear me out, please. Is that enough? You know, I'm thinking no. There's something missing. This analysis assumes, every analysis assumes that I can be objective, but depression and objectivity, they don't play well together. Rollo May said, depression is the inability to construct a future. Let me put it this way. Think of the worst day you've ever had. All right, you got that? Now imagine it lasting forever. That's my life. Can you see why depression is so intense and overpowering? It's eternal. And in that eternity, it is meaningless and hopeless. Depression is, in fact, hopelessness incarnate because it's felt with the entire body, not just the mind. Every little bit of me, every piece of me suffers. Let's consider the hypothetical situation of me in a deep depression. Purely hypothetical. It'll never happen. You'll just have to trust me on that one. So, I need to focus on my productivity in order to talk myself out of killing myself. Yeah, right. That's going to be pretty fucking hard to do. My depression is eternal. Right here, right now, I am not doing anyone any good, and nothing is going to change. Death is the only way to change. It's the only conceivable answer. And I mean that literally. My mind cannot conceive of any other alternative. In a deep depression, I need reasons to stay alive. But in a deep depression, those reasons don't exist. Death is the only way. So, I really can do nothing else but sign. always surprised how heavy a gun is. God, every time I pick it up, I'm surprised. I shouldn't be. God knows I've held this more times than I can remember. Bullet is so small, so light, but it's momentum that counts. Mass times velocity. Bullet comes out of the gun so fucking fast. Just a tiny bit of gunpowder and boom! Is the muzzle velocity faster than the speed of sound? I can't remember, but it's fast enough to make the momentum high enough to kill, to induce death. That's a funny phrase, induce death. As if the bullet must persuade the person to die. I need no persuasion. 'Tis a consummation devoutly to be wished, to die, to sleep, perchance to dream. Aye, there's the rub. For in that sleep of death, what dreams may come when we have shuffled off this mortal coil must give us pause. Pause. Friend Tim Freak says, our essential being does not exist in time and space. When we pay attention to our essential nature as awareness, we become deep awake in the timeless moment. All is one, and I am that oneness. He's not talking about depression, but depression feels this way. There's no time, there's no space. It's just me. Never thought of depression as enlightenment before. I really thought enlightenment would be a lot more fun than this. I just feel like Sisyphus, rolling that boulder up the hill over and over and over. That's absurd and meaningless. That's depressing. But hey, that's life, right? You know, and Camus said that life has to be lived in spite of all the absurdity, in spite of all the hopelessness and meaninglessness. It has to be lived. I've been rolling that boulder up the hill for 48 years. Sometimes the boulder is just getting out of bed. Sometimes the boulder is just showing up someplace. Sometimes the boulder is just sitting there, right on top of me. I'm tired of it. What am I supposed to do? Keep rolling the boulder up the hill for another 20, 30, 40 years? Every fucking day! No. I just want out. I want the boulder gone. Fuck it. The absurdity can win. So beautiful. Some days are absolute torture. She begs to go to the playground. Why not? It's a perfect summer day, the ones we have here all the time. Okay, but have to play by yourself? Oh, because I'm very tired. I'm just going to sit on the picnic bench. No, not right now. I need to sit a while longer. You try and get yourself going on the swing. Not right now. I need to rest. I'll watch you go down the slide. Not right now. I don't feel like running. You'd think she'd get mad at me, but bless her heart, she just plays and plays and checks in with me every once in a while. Maybe he sat long enough, she thinks. Tries to coax me yet again out onto the playground. But I could sit for 1,000 years and it wouldn't be long enough. She will never understand. You know what her favorite stuffed animal is? Winnie the Pooh. The donkey from Winnie the Pooh, Eeyore. The melancholy donkey. He's blue, of course. No, I mean literally blue. He's the color blue. She sleeps with him every single night. I think that maybe he reminds her of me and she's loving him the way she loves me. She loves me. She loves me. You know, Carl Jung said, only that which can destroy itself is truly alive. One cannot fully live unless one confronts one's own mortality. That's Martin Heidegger. This is so rare in a culture that embraces such a narrow definition of life and does everything possible to ignore death. But how am I supposed to confront something and choose against something that the world says doesn't exist? My depression shoves my mortality and inevitable death right in my face and says, what are you going to do about it? I can't do anything! Except choose over and over, over. And so I do. In the immortal words of the dread pirate Roberts, good night, Ken. Good work. Sleep well. I'll most likely kill you in the morning. But for today, for right now, I'll put this over here. And this over here. I'll most likely mail it in the morning. But for right now, I choose against death. And that'll have to do.